look
The
at.
only the only time I think they'd ever should consider trading Sidney Crosby, and I'd love to hear what both of you think. This is just my opinion. Is if Sid came in and said, "I've given you since 2005 everything
Yeah,
I
I get that. Yep. Yeah, I understand.
and
Yep.
I'd like a chance, a la Raymond Bork in Boston when he went to Harry.
Right.
I'd like an opportunity to try to win one more cup or two more. There's one, I think, there's one unbelievable landing spot for him if he were to ever do that, and that'd be Colorado. Nathan McKinnon is his best friend.
Right.
I don't
I
know if
actually
that
think
happens.
I think there's two teams. I think there's two.
Give me the other one.
Well, it was where his dad was drafted.
Montreal Canadiens.
Yes, absolutely.
Why would
And
Sid want to go there though? That's not a team on the upswing, is it?
Oh, I think
yes.
they're on the upswing. No,
Yeah,
I think Montreal's
it is
on the upswing. I do.
Go ahead, Pierre.
No, I think Montreal's on the upswing, John. I really do. And Bob, and the one thing I'd say about Montreal, they're getting short sold right now by a lot of quote unquote experts that don't know their young players coming up through their system. They have one of the top two goalies outside the National Hockey League, and Jacob Fowler playing at Boston College. They got one of the best power play defensemen outside the NHL in Lane Hudson. They got a big power forward playing at BU who most of the year played on Macklin Celebrini's line and Luke Tuck. I mean, I can go chapter and verse on their prospects. They got a whack of prospects. Bob, I can tell you this right now, and again, I'd like to hear what John has to say about this. Their defensemen outside the NHL, they're probably their prospect pool's as good or better than anybody's in
Really?
hockey. Yes.
Okay.
Montreal's on the upswing, but it's not because of NHL players, Bob. It's because of what's coming behind them.
I understand. Yep.
And that's actually one of the reasons you have given me 6 names. That's one of the reasons why I think Pittsburgh would contemplate that, because there is an opportunity. Forget about picks. There is an opportunity to get some really good prospects out of Montreal in that scenario. I do think there's and by the way, completely speculative, and it is completely up to Sid. This is Sid's choice at a certain point. And you know, the common theme here is, well, what did Mario do in his time? What, you know, and the Ray Bork comparison's fair, except Ray Bork had not won a Stanley Cup and Sid has won 3. So that's another factor to put into place. Has Sid done enough to say, boys, just sign me to another 4-year deal at a number that I can help this team, because that's going to be part of it, a number that I can help this team over the bridge into the next phase of growth for the Pittsburgh Penguins? Or, you know, I want to go and play. So I want to go play with Nate McKinnon, or I want to go and play. He played in Rimouski. He understands the market. He understands what Canadians mean. You know, the Montreal Canadiens are seen a great deal in Nova Scotia on television. There's something to be said for that. Those are the 2 teams that make the most sense to me if Crosby decides at a certain point to do it. It's a fascinating, and a lot of it from my perspective is the fact that Montreal is so deep in prospects. I think they have the number 2 prospect pool in the whole National Hockey League. And I think that, you know, that's where, you know, Kent and Jeff Gorton have done a magnificent job over the period of time that they've been there.
But if Crosby wants to leave and says, I want to leave because I want a shot at another cup, he's not going to get that in Montreal. He's got to wait 3 or 4 years probably to be in that position in Montreal. And he probably would be capable of playing 3 or 4 more years, but who knows how long he wants to play. Yeah. You know, at least in Colorado, he could win.
He could. So the one thing, here's a good story. I don't know if you guys are familiar. The day after Nathan McKinnon was drafted by Colorado, number 1 overall, Crosby and McKinnon went to the beaches in California and were running sand dunes the day after. And I wasn't there, but I heard about it from people that were. The level of competition, the internal level of competition between the 2 of them was just ferocious. So just recently, Pittsburgh played in Colorado. I think they got up to a 3 or 4-0 lead, if I remember correctly.
4-0 Pittsburgh. 4-0.
If you watch the intensity on Nathan McKinnon's face when he was cueing the comeback, and the intensity on Sidney Crosby's face as he's trying to stem the comeback, that is unbelievable drama. And it's great athletic theater. And to me, that speaks to why I think that's the place. If Sid were to go, I stress if he wanted to go and could go, that would be the place where I could just see.
Well, you can't
So much mayhem around the league.
But you can't trade Sidney Crosby unless he wants to go,
I
right?
would agree. That's 100%.